Well, Emily Woods has been hired by the Mammoth Lakes Chamber of Commerce as the membership and marketing organization for the marketing manager for the organization. Ken Brangle, executive director of the Mammoth Lakes Chamber of Commerce, said, "We are very excited to have Emily join the Chamber Mammoth Lakes tourism team. Her past experiences in the membership development and her current marketing efforts with Mammoth Lakes Recreation made her a very viable choice. Her knowledge of and her involvement in the Mammoth Lakes community makes her ready to hit the ground running when she gets on board." Emily Woods said, "I am very much looking forward to working with not only the Mammoth Lakes Chamber of Commerce and visitors and Mammoth Lakes tourism team, but the small business community in Mammoth Lakes as well. We have amazing people in this town doing great things. It will be a pleasure to work with them and continue to enhance the Mammoth Lakes community." Woods will begin her new position Monday, October 29th. Well, these folks seem to have a great time. Sierra Wave Media's Bill Schneider came across the Central Coast British Car Club, also known as the CBBCC. And he got to the Eastern Sierra Saturday, September 22nd as part of its annual Mille Road Trip. The trip is named in honor of Mille Miglia, an Italian motor car race that was 1,000 miles long. And that is, well, Italian for 1,000 miles. Now, it's really not a race, but a 4-day, 1,000-mile tour limited to British cars from any year. Most of the cars this year were made between 1958 and 1974. The #1 goal, Bill Schneider writes, was to stay off freeways as much as possible. This lets them driving in their own leisurely way. Some of the most beautiful and often skipped back roads to be found anywhere, all in classic British style. Now, they left on September 20th. Group traveled up Highway 1 to Big Sur, then over Yosemite. Day 2, a short trip over Tioga Pass to Lee Vining. Day 3 found them coming down Highway 6 on the way to Big Pine for breakfast. This is where Bill Schneider met them. Joel Justin of the Central Coast British Car Club explains the who's and whys of the trip.
We're with the Central Coast British Car Club, and this is the second year we've organized what we call the CCBCC Milla. It's a 1,000-mile road trip around California. Last year we did 4 days, this year we're doing 5 days. We try to stay off the highways as much as possible, take as many back roads as we can, and enjoy some of the scenic parts of California that most people never get to see. We're doing it in our old British cars, anywhere from, I think our earliest is a 1957. Our newest, well, we've got a modern Mini, but our newest vintage car is probably in the mid-70s. And we bring along a pickup to bring up the rear and carry all sorts of tools and supplies in case we have any mechanical mishaps along the way that we can hopefully get repaired. On this trip, we're heading north from Ventura County. We headed up the coast to Carmel, spent the night there, and then we headed across the San Joaquin Valley up into Yosemite and spent the night in Yosemite Valley. Then from there we headed up over Tioga Pass and spent last night in Lee Vining. Today we're heading east over down 395 and over Highway 168. And eventually down towards Death Valley, where we'll spend the night in Furnace Creek. And then on our final day, we'll head from Death Valley, again staying off the highways as much as possible, back home to Ventura.
Now, on the more practical side, bringing up the rear was the sole piece of American steel, a blue 2013 Ford F-150, but that carried their tools, spare parts, and anything else that couldn't fit into their little British cars. After a lovely breakfast with lots of spirited conversation, the parade of British cars was off to Kirby 168 over Westgard Pass on the way to the inn at Death Valley. From Death Valley, went to Lone Pine on their way back home to Ventura area. The four-day adventure ended happily and uneventfully, and in thus completing their four-day, 1,000-mile adventure. Very cool, and we thank Bill Schneider for that. We'll be back with a weather report.